And the difference between what the other guys, no, Weichert proposes and how we've done it is quite different. And this is going to be a jury out activity again.
Oh, no, my fault. I need that one, sorry.
No, I will not.
You give me that time.
There you go.
So, they use this concept of the price price trend analysis, and of course this ties in with their big portfolio and walking in with just, you know, this magnificent presentation. And my Land of Practical and how it works best for me has always been different, as well as for you guys. So we are probably going to do a blending. I'm going to sit and post. I didn't even post one of these myself yet. Mainly because until this morning I really didn't have a chance to really study it. I tried to study it on Saturday, but I had an attitude problem and I didn't do it. I had to leave. No. So I got up and I went down to the race course. 1 second, thank God, my husband says, "Are you ever coming down here?" So it was a good move. I had to go anyway. So anyway. I really believe that what they're going to show is great, but our dedication to education and detail is not answered by this piece of paper. I just did it today when I was going over pricing at Penwood. You know, I can show her a chart like this, and I'm just for now with no numbers, I'll show you the chart. It's a bunch of numbers, days on market. This will be, you know, an average future price. That's kind of fun if you're just shooting, you know, and providing historic data. So I like this. I think this is a good exercise because it also makes you look at what happened in a more detailed way. And I do love, you know, all the breakdowns. So, and this is an Excel spreadsheet in Weichert 1. Okay. So it's something that you're going to plug in your numbers and things are going to be computed for you. But I am not, and Bobby's not here, so I can say whatever the hell I want. And you know I will. It's so funny.
Is that being recorded today?
Oh, is it over right now? Great.
That's so funny. You told me to.
But my thing is I just sat today and did this. And if I had just done this little piece of paper, if the next agent shows up with MLS or a different format with a picture of the competitive houses, here I am with my little piece of paper. When I know better and I know what worked for me. So what I actually did, and again, this portfolio too for the fast track presentation, we're going to be customizing it even more. You know, we're in this, we know we're evolving. So for this, what I still propose is, now what I've done is I'm actually down to trying to save paper and everything else and doing like a 3-up in trend. So you get the 3, you do.
That's what I do. And
That's
yeah,
that's
but then I send it to them as well so that they can look at it also.
Here's what we need to consider. We're going to obviously do active, pending, and settled. And then we're going to do the price, you know, and let's do mine, it's easier. I knew she wasn't going to go over 500, so I went 200 to 500. Then I chose my area, then I chose my development. And that's all you need. That's going to give you all the history. So you're going to go into trend, do active, pending, and settled as your search. In this case, 200 to 500. The school system code, and then the development, and up everything comes. So I actually print out the member full for all of them. I'm not a good screen person. I can look at a screen and see things, but I can't analyze unless I have them and I can really move them around and touch them. So I'll take the member full and then print those and then start thinking about price from the member fulls. But when I go to the client, I'm going to take the client, I think it is called like 3 Up or something,
Yeah.
and I'll print it in color because the critical information that we need to do a listing is enough on the 3 Up to leave as the leave behind. For you as the analyzer beforehand, having the member full will do it for you. So now, this is what you'll do first before you come up with your number. Then, when you go to look at the number that you're going to use, what I do, let's talk about first before. This is at home. This is that middle step 2 section that they're talking about with Weichert. So now I'm going to look, and I'm going to be looking at price, square footage, and for those agents that don't put the square footage, I bother to look it up in the tax records and write it in myself so I know what I'm dealing with. I'm going to look at bedrooms, bathrooms, basements, acreage. You can do almost anything if that's how you look at it, because this pretty much separates the men from the boys on everything. Now, obviously, if you're not in a development, developments are easy. If you're not in a development, you're going to obviously get into the age of the home. But these elements are what you're going to look at, and I take a highlighter, and I'll even bother to highlight it if I want to make my day colorful. So this way, I can easily start judging. Now, the Weichert way and using the price trend analysis, that's going to be your secondary resource now. Still going to do it my old way because we need that same thing I just did is what we need to do this. So, and now they also incorporate a big piece, and we're going to go over this form here in a second. But they do a big piece on days on market.
That's what I.
And that came into play with me today too. So I'm going to add the days on market can also be a factor. I was blessed with mine today. I had sold the only other one that was close to hers just 2 months ago. So as she's going to argue with me on price, I showed her, I mispriced this house. I listed it at $400. We thought it would sell in a month. So did every realtor in this town. It was on the market for 140 days. That's not what I do usually. So it got lowered to $375, and bam, we had 2 offers. So it's weird that especially in that price point, isn't it odd that somebody didn't just come in and offer $375?
Right.
They did not.
But they don't. Yeah.
They don't do that here.
Mhm.
This is not Jersey. This is
I've
not
been
New
noticing
York.
that.
This is not a high negotiating environment.
Yeah.
People just sit there and go, oh, okay. Now they get mad and they have a rant later in someplace else, and but they don't come forward and have us do that. So that, or every realtor was afraid of me and that they knew I wouldn't accept anything lower. That could be. I think that's it.
Remember that.
I figured it out. No, that's not it, because the agents that showed it were all allies. So it was a great listing. It's gorgeous. So this is what you're going to highlight. You're going to be posting it then. They call it the good old PTA, price trend analysis. So you're going to then enter it on the Excel spreadsheet. And then you're going to figure out based on, and we'll go over the price trend analysis sheet now, based on what they're going to come out with as the average and what your good business sense is going to also have been able to do the way we've always done it. And that's what you'll be taking to the homeowner. Now, when you're at the homeowner, you're going to be using you'll present this to them, and you'll present that form, and you'll sit, I'm hoping you're sitting next to these people because that's just the easiest way, especially to do the portfolio. And do take your highlighter because, you know, we leave behinds and we think they're going to study them and they're going to look at them. You know, half the time they really don't even look at them. So you've got to make sure that you've reviewed it with them in a way that they're going to be able to spot check and say, oh yeah, that's what she said. You know, again, this lady is not happy about her price, but she sees it. You know, I said, well, now I'm not the bad guy, it's the appraiser. You know, and when an appraiser sits at their desk, this is what they're going to be evaluating. So with this form, I will on the form highlight, just like I did on my sheets, sitting there with them, because I have clients that by the time you're done presenting it this way, they're telling you what the price is. You know, and this way you're not looking bad. If you walk in with this as a bottom line and they didn't get to analyze it themselves, right. I can't do
How
this.
do they get to that? Yeah.
I'm not going to make, you know, I don't let you guys do anything I won't do. So it could be dangerous for you guys, but in the meantime, you're safe on some stuff. So, I will sit there, and I did with her, with the marker, and I'm highlighting and talking. Now you'll see this one, it's active, this is our competition, it's not been updated, you can see by, you know, in her case I brought the pictures because she doesn't go on the internet enough. So, and if it is an outdated piece of, you know, they have this one house over there that's been on the market for, actually it's close to 2 years. It's on the market for $250. And it is the original 43-year-old home. Honestly, it is a double-wide construction in Penwood. I've never seen anything so ugly in that development. They shouldn't have allowed it. Boy, did they need some kind of a committee in that place back then. It's really not so good. I mean,
43 years ago?
Yeah.
I didn't know that development was that old.
It was. It is. There's one old street. I think there was a street there, and then the development kind of exploded from there. You know, and actually the street went around, and then they built in toward the center. Because I sold one in there that was only like 12 or 14 years old recently, so it's kind of unique. So there's a lot of diversity, but they have like the cupboards, like the counter, like here, the breakfast bar in the kitchen, it's like a U, and then they have the cupboards that come here, so that when someone's in the living room, if you want to talk to them, you have to do this. You know, all those conveniences that we've learned over time isn't so convenient. So I could show her firsthand that home's been on the market 2 years, and she's already now bought her new home that she knows she's going to build. And she's building right next door to one of my other clients at Champions Club. So she's motivated to that degree. And then when I could show her the 375 versus the 400 and how much longer it was, it made total sense to her. If I had just shown her a piece of paper like this, we're missing a lot of that making sense, because you want them to trust you, you want them to build rapport, but in the meantime, to earn that, it's really all about the level of education you provide still. And I believe in my heart, I mean, in Jersey, it's probably easier for them to do this because everything's so tight. There's probably comps everywhere and anybody could price a house. Like I did yesterday over in Wynwood. You know, 6 sold, they were all identical. How hard is this? So, but in lots of cases, we don't have that ability. So I bothered to highlight it and talk her through the thought process, just as I had done myself, really. You're just repeating your homework. You know, everything you did here and the thought process you did here is what you're going to highlight during your conversation, because their thoughts are going to evolve, and so your price presentation is a cakewalk at that point. Because the next conversion after the price presentation, I want to keep this in a system right now, and we'll go back and do that one piece. Your whole system of handling this is you'll post it on here. You'll have all your information. When you go on into the call, like I said, you're going to bring the 3-client printout, You're going to sit there and highlight and talk them through price. You're going to end up asking them, so based on the price, can you see, that your range is going to be around, yeah, they'll see it. Not what I expected, not what I wanted, all those comments, and again, that's when you can reinforce by saying, well, the appraiser is really going to sit and do exactly what I did today for you. And that's our audience. That's who the bank is going to trust, and that's how the bank is going to assess whether the loan that your buyer gets is going to be able to be justified. So, very important extra education and exposure, I feel, to make your job easier, but more importantly, it is the service our customer deserves. You know we're education-based. That is what our mission statement says. That's not changed a bit. It's only getting better. So from there, when you do come up with the price, you're going to get out your net sheet. These are in the forms cabinet. There's 2 because you keep one in your folder. So just like me, you can sit at closing and show them that you are within $50 of the estimate. Just saying. And we're going to go over this now too. I know most of you have done them, but if you just bear with me, we're going to go through it. Because this is also where you have your conversation about commission. Because you're getting a chance to just automatically fill in 3 here. Oh, sorry, darling.
I'm late, I can't get home.
But the only problem is they did go up in price. They're $5.
I just went to the county board and didn't have a dollar on it, it would take that at the moment.
Nice, nice. Right. So you're having a good one.
I'll show you mine for more.
Nice, nice. Oh, crap. So you're going to, write their address at the top and then the estimated selling price. Today for her, I did $360. I write low. I wrote $360 because I said, I think this is our real sweet spot. I think this is the fair market value. But I want to list your house at $368 because the market is taking a little jump. My other house was on the market during the winter, so that extra time, we had a harsh winter. There was not a lot of activity. So I'm thinking that, it could be a little off. So I want to list at $368. But I gave her a net sheet at $360. I would have done $368. I would say take the high on this. But I had already done that the other day and didn't have time to redo anything. So you put the selling price here. You don't go for the high crazy because then they're looking at a number down here, and when you start bringing them offers, it doesn't look as pretty. So I really do pick market value on mine. I put the 3%, and I say, and the reason we present the commission as 3%, because that's what I get paid. I get 3%, the seller's agent gets 3%, and the buyer's agent gets 3%. The way I talk about transfer tax is we only have one big tax in the state of Delaware, and that's transfer tax. It's 3% of the price of the home. The buyer pays 1.5%, the seller pays 1.5%. And that 1.5% is divided. So I do that, I put that number in. I do these while I'm sitting there with them. It's interactive. I bring my phone now to take my pictures. I bring my phone to take my pictures and also to use as a calculator. So I fill this out with them again so I can train them and educate them, and they're watching as I'm doing it, so you keep their attention. I asked them then about the I'm sorry, we'll go on. Sorry about that. Water test not involved. Septic certification. I've got to talk to Bobby about how she does it because I don't have any of my sellers do those. Because I know the buyer under buyer beware, there shouldn't be an agent in this county not having their buyer do a septic inspection.
I would disagree.
Yeah?
I would disagree.
That they are not having them do a septic inspection?
No, that sellers, because it's on the contract, that the sellers, are paying for that.
Well, they pay for it, but the buyers do it again.
No, I don't. I don't have them do it again. I
Oh.
talk to the listing agent, and I would generally, I'll say, are you comfortable with this company? And the seller pays for it.
Okay. Now, I'm kind of a last minute person. I want to know that minute what might have happened. So I always have my buyers pay.
Yeah.
So if they did have the septic certification or they're going